What's up, guys? It's your boy Marshall. It's Mars Sports. Today we've got coaching projections. What the heck is my AirPod case? Well, the chuck, where my AirPod case at? Where my AirPod case at, boy? Hold on. Oh, it's back there. We so stupid. Hold on. I'm gonna take these AirPods out because I can't really hear myself talk because it's the AirPod Pros. These are amazing, by the way. Today, we are going to do coaching projections week number 13, after week 13, because it's getting real good with this, I will say. And sorry I haven't done this in a few weeks. I've just been busy, so we're back on it, boys. Yeah, today we're going to do coaching projections for this. By the way, just to clarify, this is for only FBS teams, not FCS teams. I don't pay attention to the FCS. I'll be honest with you. Great league, but I don't pay attention. Yeah. Today we'll be talking about that. So yeah. But anyways, let's work back into this. So I don't know how this is. It's where the coaches are gonna go, where I think they're gonna go. I try to do this weekly, although I haven't done as good lately. But yeah, there's that. The last time I did this was like, I think it was right after. It was right after Auburn fired Hugh Freeze. So yeah, there's that. But before we get to our projections, let's do some updates on who's on here. So we have added the team and removed the team. So we've removed Virginia Tech because James Franklin got hired by Virginia Tech, which I had been projected to go there. The week Hugh Freeze got fired, because James Franklin at that point they were in the early stages. So like I was like, okay, this actually makes sense. So yeah, there's that. We gave him I gave him. It's just we as an I. Honestly, I predicted this correctly. After a while, I thought he originally was going to go to Oklahoma State, and then he would go to Florida, and then Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech's a great hire. They're a great place to go. That's a great hire by Virginia Tech because I think James Franklin could bring into like actual like good stuff. They can honestly turn the ACC, so I think that's a really good hire by Virginia Tech, and I wish James Franklin the best. Yeah. That being said, though, we added an ACC team, and this just happened yesterday. I'm actually kind of surprised they fired him, but considering they actually haven't done terrible this season. They've had some terrible games, but Cal fired Justin Wilcox. I will admit, Cal is super inconsistent. Like, they'll beat Louisville, but then they'll lose to Stanford, and then they'll beat Minnesota, and then they'll get shut out by San Diego State. So they're very inconsistent. So I guess I kind of understand why they fired him. Plus, there's a lot of coaches out there right now. So yeah, but like, there's that. I was expected to add some more. I thought Maryland would fire Loxley, but he's staying. Baylor's keeping Aranda, which he's been there forever. It seems like since 2020. Whether he's on the hot seat or not, he's still there. Nike Norvell's staying at Florida State. Which, honestly, if they didn't beat Alabama, he would have been fired by now. As Florida State has been better this year, but still not where they need to be, in my opinion, especially after you beat Alabama. Yeah. Feels really weird in here. Let's see my feet. And who else? I swear there's someone else that stayed that I was kind of surprised did. Oh, Luke Fickell, that's one. Although they've actually gotten some wins, so credit to them. Like, they're actually getting better. They beat Washington, and they also beat Illinois. Maybe they're actually going somewhere for once. But today we have coaching projections. We have 12 coaches. Sorry if I hear background noise. We have Penn State, Oregon State, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, UCLA, Stanford, UAB, Florida, Colorado State, Link, Auburn, Cal, and LSU. Almost said something that was spoiled it. Yeah. There's that, but it's been a few weeks, so there's a lot of things have changed since then. Yeah. Anyways, let's get started. Let's start with the coaches I've kept the same. from the last episode. Penn State, I still have Jimbo Fisher going there. I just don't see them poaching another coach. I mean, they could definitely coach. Like, they're not going to get, like, it's not going to be Kalen DeBoer. I'm sorry, but it's not going to be Kalen DeBoer. Why the heck would you leave Alabama? I mean, that's Alabama arguably is the best job in college football. Yeah, but Penn State, they could get Clark Lee theoretically, especially Pavia leaving. One second. How you got your green thing? Where is it? He does that whenever I'm home. The rare times I'm actually home. Yeah. He's during the day. But he gets a bone every day. Like a treat. It's one of those like green bones that dogs love. Yeah. But Jimbo Fisher, I mean, I think this makes the most sense for Penn State because Penn State already has to pay a crap ton to James Franklin for the next few years. Certain his buyout. And what is it? Considering his buyout and like other things, like Jimbo Fisher's looking to get back into coaching eventually, and I think Penn State would be probably one. I don't think that's necessarily Penn State's first option, but I think they'd probably go with him at this point because Clark Lee, I don't think he would want to lead the SEC. I know it's Vanderbilt, but still, he's done an incredible job there over the last few years. Well, Pavia leaving after this year, we'll see, but they're not going to get the board because why on earth would you leave Alabama? And yeah, they could get like Brent Key or something from Georgia Tech. They could poach coach. I think Jimbo Fisher just makes the most sense at this point to me. I don't know why. I know he's not on many other people's radars, but at least for Penn State, but yeah, that's what I think. Arkansas. I've been saying this for weeks now. I'm dead set on them getting John Gruden. I think that makes the most sense for them because John Gruden wants to coach the SEC, and it's not necessarily an amazing SEC program. They're not bad, but like they're kind of the worst SEC team this year. Although they've beaten themselves a lot in football, so that's something to note. But yeah, there's that. Sorry. I just feel like I feel like if he wants to coach somewhere, I think Arkansas is probably the one that would make the most sense for him. He could go to Auburn. I think Auburn's going to get a different coach though. My guess they'll get someone in the group of 5. Florida could be one. But Florida is very picky with their coaches apparently. And I don't think he's going to go to LSU. I think that's too much of a big step. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting Gruden, but like it would be kind of risky considering he hasn't coached in a while. Yeah. I think John Gruden goes to Arkansas though. Since he wants to coach the SEC. Oklahoma State. I've been back and forth on a few coaches on this. I started off by James Franklin. That's before the Florida job opened up. And then I had Eric Morris, and then I switched to Alex Golish, and then back to Eric Morris. And I think I'm still setting Eric Morris going there. He's done an incredible job at North Texas this year. I mean, they've been really good. 10-1 this year. They're ranked in the AP poll for the second week in a row. They've been really good this year. Like that offense has been incredible. Their defense has been shaky at points, but that really only cost them against South Florida, to be fair. But man, I tell you what, that team, that North Texas team, I'm literally live 10 minutes away from North Texas University or University UNT, I guess. They've been incredible this year. Like they've been really, really good. I'm really excited to see. I'm really excited to see what happens to North Texas. Hopefully, they make the playoffs this year because obviously these guys aren't making the playoffs. But North Texas, I can't believe saying that North Texas is a better shot than LSU to make the playoffs at this point. Yeah, but like it's just What do I know? But I mean, but he's done an incredible job in North Texas. I think he'll be the next coach of Oklahoma State. It makes the most sense. I feel like a Big 12 school makes the most sense. I think he could. I could see him being the Big 12 coach, and Oklahoma State needs all the help they can get at this point. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They're terrible this year. They're one of the worst teams, not just in the Power Four, worst teams in the FBS this year. They've been terrible this year. Like if you lose to Tulsa, I'm at home. I'm sorry, you're not a good team. No disrespect to Tulsa. Tulsa's not usually a good team. They're not that good this year either. They have like 4 wins all year. Yeah, they just got their first conference win against a very weird Army team. Yeah, there's that. And then moving on, UAB. I think Hugh Freeze still goes there. I feel like if you want, I think Hooper 5 is where he's going to end up going to coach at because he was good. He was good at Liberty. I think if you put him back in the group of 5, especially a desperate team like UAB, I think that'd be good. Obviously, hope by the way, all my thoughts prayers go out to the people that were harmed in the incident with the player stabbing all the 2 players. I think from what I heard, they're okay. At least it's not like life threatening or anything like that. But sorry, I'm very itchy today. But like it's just yeah. But hopefully the player that stabbed everyone gets what they deserve. Hopefully prison for a while, at least a while. Yeah, because that's like I can imagine like going to football practice and just getting stabbed, like especially day of the game. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, hopefully everyone's okay in that situation. Anyways, but back on the coaching side, Hugh Freeze. I mean, he won't have to move many places. Like, how far is UAB to Auburn? Give me directions to UAB from Auburn.
Getting directions to the University of Alabama at Birmingham from Auburn.
Auburn's also one of the times that needs to look for a coach, ironically. No, not Auburn from where the heck is that? Auburn, really? Auburn from Washington for some reason gave me. Auburn University. 2 hours. That's not that far in the retrospect of things. In the grand scheme of things, I guess. But I feel like that makes the most sense. Plus the American, I will say, the American is probably the best group of 5, group of 6 conference out there. I mean, you got teams like this year, like Tulane, North Texas, South Florida, Memphis, even like East Carolina. I know they got crushed, but yeah. Yeah, that's a good conference, bro. I'll tell you what. Navy, that's the one I was thinking of. And I guess Army when they're good, but yeah. But I think that that makes the most sense for Hugh Freeze at this point. That yeah. I'm pretty sure it's all the ones that kept the same, ironically. Yeah, a lot of changes happened. So now we're gonna go to the changes for the list. Let's start off just to make sense in the grand, just so it makes sense in like the order. Let's start with LSU. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's start with LSU because it'll make the most sense to start off with it, or else you'll see why in a second. LSU, I've been back and forth. I originally had Lane Kiffin as the one going there, and then so I am an LSU fan, as you can see. I mean, LSU's on. Like, there's a whole story behind it. LSU's the reason why I'm alive, why I have a life, which is like the reason why I exist. It's a whole story. It's basically how my parents met. They met through the purple and gold. Yeah, because my mom went there. Yeah. Anyways, my mom went to LSU. Yeah. But anyways, it's a whole story. I'll tell you about that one day. Maybe during the offseason, I'll tell you about that story. But I've been back and forth. I originally had Lane Kiffin. Then I picked John Summerall after all the firings from LSU happened, like this whole drama and all that. Yeah, I was like, yeah, there's no way they're gonna poach a coach at this point. But the recent rumblings stuff came out. Y'all probably heard Joey Freshwater himself, Lane Kiffin, might leave Ole Miss to come to LSU or Florida, but I don't think Florida is likely at this point. I think LSU is going to get Lane Kiffin. Now, I'm like one of the two that I'll believe it when I'll see it type people because it seems like he's very interested in LSU. But if he's taking this long to think about it, there's serious consideration for Ole Miss. Like Ole Miss is in a really good spot. Lane Kiffin's done an incredible job at Ole Miss, but I think he'll have more resources at LSU. I'm not just saying that because I don't like Ole Miss. Obviously, I'm saying that because like that's just a general scheme of things. Like LSU is generally more successful at Ole Miss. But Lane Kiffin has been the reason why Ole Miss has actually been relevant over the last few years. They've been really good. Like they're going to make the playoffs more than likely this year. Now the decision is supposed to come after the Egg Bowl. So next week when we do this, we might have a lot of firings potentially. Like we'll have to do this more often because like we're gonna have coaches get poached and they're gonna have to predict who goes there and all that. That's gonna be harder to do because there's a lot of people I don't know of. But yeah, I'll do my research on that. But I think LSU will get Lane Kiffin at this point. So, yeah, and honestly, this is why I held Oregon State off. If y'all been watching, there's been reports that suggest Lane Kiffin and Ed Orgeron could team up at LSU, and I think LSU will hire Orgeron again as an assistant, not as a head coach. I think Lane Kiffin will be the head coach and Ed Orgeron will be the assistant because Lane Kiffin and Ed Orgeron have worked together in the past, like at USC. I think Ole Miss they might work together as well. Yeah, but I think Ed Orgeron will come to LSU as an assistant. I'm just gonna go full on, just go full bank at this point. I'm gonna believe, bro, because like LSU is one of the most prestigious. I'm not trying to brag or flex. LSU is one of the most prestigious jobs in college football. Like, who doesn't want to coach LSU, bro? Like, well, maybe certain people, but I think LSU gets Lane Kiffin. I feel like it's either Lane Kiffin or some Group of Five coach that's really good. I think if we don't get Kiffin, we might get Summerall because like we'll steal from a different rival. Yeah, it's one we haven't played in years, but either we're stealing from Ole Miss or we're stealing from Tulane. We're either going to get the Magnolia Bowl or the Battle for the Rag. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I think Lane Kiffin and I think Lane Kiffin will be the next coach of LSU. It's just they have the upper minutes at this point, and I think that Orgeron will be one of the assistants. Yeah. Like I think there's a chance of like Orgeron could weigh out his options, but like he seems dear in heart to LSU. Like he seems like he would love to come back to LSU. And I think that'd be a great way to come back. And maybe over the years he might go to a different school head coach there, depending on how successful it'll be. Because I don't think Ed Orgeron is I don't think a head coach will work out for him again, but at least for LSU. At least for the time being. But assistant, man, I mean, it could work, that's for sure. Moving on. Now we go to Oregon State, which and the reason why I held them off because I had Ed Orgeron been going there for the past few weeks now, ever since I started the series. But with Ed Orgeron being assistant, he can't coach Oregon State at the same time. So I picked a different person. I picked another former SEC coach who actually just got fired pretty recently. He had some moments, but like overall, it wasn't a great stint at his team. But to be fair, I don't think it's all his fault because the organization has some issues too. These last few years, like as a certain Mountain West coach who's actually done pretty good this year. I think Billy Napier is going to be the next coach of Oregon State. I was back and forth on this between him and a different coach that coached another OSU team. But I mean, Billy Napier, I feel like he was good in the Group of Five. He did good at Louisiana. He made them really good. That's why Florida hired him in the first place. But I think if you put him back in his like wheelhouse in a reincarnated Pac-12, which is going to be a Group of Six, because like the only teams that I could consider Power Four level there are Oregon State and Washington. You could argue Boise State, honestly. And this year, San Diego State's been pretty good, but like it's not going to be a Power Five conference. I'm sorry, it's not going to be a Power Five. It's gonna be a group of 6 conference. But I think Billy Napier going to taking over Oregon State. I think that's actually a completely valid option because he's done good group of 5. He has a lot of work to do there because Oregon State is one of the worst teams in the FBS this year. Have you seen who they lost to? They've lost to Sam Houston State, Tulsa. I'm pretty sure they lost to Tulsa. They've lost to really bad teams. They get Sam Houston their first win all year. They have 2 wins. They're against Lafayette and Washington State. Somehow they beat Washington State. They'll have to play them again this week. Yeah, which is the first time I've ever seen. But that's the first time I've ever seen a rematch in the regular season. And in the college football. I know it's the Pac-12, but still, they're basically the Pac-12's function as independence this year. Like if you see who they're playing, I'm gonna pull up their schedule because last year they played a bunch of Mountain West teams. They're basically an affiliate member at that point, like that scheduling deal. Yeah, but if you want to just here, I'll tell you Oregon State's schedule from last year compared to this year. They have so many conference opponents, bro. That's insane. Where the heck is there? 2024, Oregon State. Let's look at Oregon State first. They had to play. So here's what they've been: 5-7. This is 2024. They beat Idaho State. That's FCS team. What do you expect? They shut out San Diego State. That's when San Diego State wasn't very good, though. They've completely turned. By the way, guys, I cannot see the live chat for some reason. It says something went wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then they lost to Oregon. That's a rivalry, though. I don't know if they're playing each other next year, though. They beat Purdue. Purdue's terrible last year, though. Well, they're not that good. They're not great this year either. They're not much better this year. We'll admit they've been better, but they beat Colorado State in overtime. And then lost Nevada, UNLV, Cal, San Jose State. I didn't realize they played Cal last year. San Jose State, Air Force, and they beat Washington State, and then they lost to Boise State. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 Mountain West games with it's because this year, here's who they played. They started the season against Cal, and they lost. They've only beat 2 teams, which are Lafayette and Washington State. Cal, Fresno State, Texas Tech, Oregon, Houston, App State, Wake Forest, Lafayette, Washington State, Sam Houston State, Tulsa, and Washington State again. That's their schedule. I mean, you got an ACC team, a Mountain West team, a Big 12 team, a Big 10 team, another Big 12 team, a Sun Belt team, another ACC team, an FCS team, their one Pac-12 team, a CUSA team, an American team, and then Wazoo again. So it's been very diverse this year. And for Wazoo, on the other hand, which they've been a weird team this year, we'll admit. Here's who they put last year: Portland State, Texas Tech, Washington, San Jose State, Boise State, Fresno State, Hawaii, San Diego State, Utah, New Mexico, Oregon State, and Wyoming. That's and then they played Syracuse in a bowl game last year. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Mountain West teams on their schedule. And then they won against everyone except Boise State, Oregon State, New Mexico, and Wyoming. They were in Syracuse. They were terrible in last year. They were good for the most part. I mean, that's what John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle were there still. Yeah. And then this year, I've gone a full Mountain West. I've gone a full Pac-12 lecture. All of a sudden, here's they played. They barely beat FCS Idaho. They beat San Diego State. It's actually a good win for them. Then they got slammed by North Texas. Then they got slammed by Washington. Then they beat Colorado State. Almost beat Ole Miss. Almost beat Virginia. Beat Toledo. Lost to Oregon State. Beat Louisiana Tech. Lost to JMU in a close game. And then Oregon State. Again, they're going to play. So you got an FCS team, a Mount West team, an American team, a Big Ten team, a Mount West team, an SEC team, an ACC team, MAC team, Pac-12 and Oregon State, CUSA team, a Sun Belt team, and Oregon. They're basically UConn on steroids. They're basically UConn, but technically in the conference. That's right. They're scheduling like UConn at this point, bro. It's insane. They're not as good as UConn, obviously. UConn's actually a pretty good team this year. They lose to the most random teams, but UConn's a good team. Anyways, I think Billy Napier, he did good at Louisiana, so I think he'll be a good fit for Oregon State. It's gonna be a huge climate change, obviously, but I think it'll be fun. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Now we got UCLA. So UCLA, I've had Tim Skipper and Jerry Neuheisel, but at this point, based on how they're doing this season, since then, because I was kind of set like they're actually doing pretty good, but then they kind of fell off again. And it's not all their fault, obviously. It's not really their fault necessarily, but because to be fair, they're playing not great teams. Like it was Penn State who ended up sucking. And they beat up Nebraska, but Nebraska lost Dylan Raiola, so that kind of hurts. And then they beat Michigan State, and then who else? Who was the other team they beat? Hold up, UCLA. Not 2025. Oh, they play UFC. That's gonna be a good game. Oh, no, actually, USC's probably gonna crush them. But yeah, who was the other team they beat? It was Maryland. Maryland sucks though. Maryland falls off after they win 4 games. But yeah, I think yeah, but UCLA, I think Neuheisel and Tim Skipper could stay as interims, or as assistants. Sorry, but at this point, I think a former SEC coach is going to go there, and particularly one from here. Nick said no, Kane. I think Brian Kelly will be the next coach of UCLA. I think he's going to go to a Power 4 school still. He's in a similar situation James Franklin, I will admit. He might take a son with him, Kenzel. I didn't even realize his son played on the team until they showed that segment on the game the other day. By the way, torturous game. We should have beat Western Kentucky about billion points, but no, our offense sucks. Granted, Western Kentucky's a good team, but still. But Brian Kelly, I know he's been through it a lot in the last few weeks with all his fires and all that. But I think honestly, if he coaches in like the Big Ten, where besides like the good teams, everyone else is kind of mid there. I think he could thrive there, honestly, because he's one of those coaches that like he could bring your team back to life, but like can't really take it much further. But I mean, in an easier conference that's more top heavy, I think UCLA could at least be decent again. And Brian Kelly, I think, could bring them back to like decent heights. So yeah, but I think he wants to. I think he'll end up coaching somewhere still. And I think UCLA makes the most sense. I know at Stanford, but UCLA I feel like is probably a better grab at this point. I think that's a better job in Stanford because Stanford's not in as good of a conference. But in UCLA is in a better conference. So I think Brian Kelly will go to UCLA at this point. Plus, I mean, he beat UCLA, so there's that. Yeah. He'll have to face USC again. I just realized that. But yeah. Anyways, moving on. Stanford, at least it's Stanford. I've had Brian Kelly the last few weeks. I also had Andrew Luck at one point. But I don't think Andrew Luck's going to take it over immediately, and Brian Kelly can coach UCLA and Stanford at the same time. So for Stanford, I'm actually going to say Bob Chesney is going to be the next head coach. Andrew Luck is going to be is part of the person is one of the people that's like a big part of this coaching search. And I think Bob Chesney he's a James Madison coach. He's done an amazing job there, even after Kirk Cignetti left. Like JMU's still been really good. That just shows you how great of a program they are. And Bob Chesney's a really good coach. And like this might be the best JMU team they've had since FBS. They joined the FBS, and I think now, granted, they haven't been in the FBS for that long, but still, I mean, their one loss is to not a terrible loss to Louisville. I think Bob Chesney would thrive at Stanford. I think he'd be a good fit for them. Because Stanford just needs help, bro. Like I know they beat California, but that's their biggest rival. Of course, they're gonna prepare the best for them. But one of their biggest rivals, I think that's the biggest rival. I think Bob Chesney, yeah, like JMU still in the playoff race. Like if that could beat them or North Texas or Tulane. Um, but I think he's done such a great job there. I think he'll be the next coach at Stanford. It makes sense that he gets an upper job because he's done great. He's done an amazing job at JMU. I think he's been there since last year. There's rumors he could go to Penn State though. I'm not sold on that yet though. Next week we'll see, but it says projected. I don't know if that's actually true yet though. He's at Holly Cross before this. No, he's at James Madison. He's also younger for a coach. He's 48, which is actually pretty young for a coach. Considering Kirk Ferentz is like 305 years old, but when did because JMU had Kirk Cignetti at one point. Oh yeah, after Kirk Cignetti left. And by the way, Kirk Cignetti's done an amazing job at Indiana. So I mean, if he could do a great job there, but just imagine what Bob Chesney can do. Like the world is oyster at this point, I will say. Yeah, I think Bob Chesney will be the next coach at Stanford at this point. I feel like they're gonna. I think there's a chance that they could get he goes Penn State, but I mean I just don't see it at the moment. But yeah, but I mean it makes sense. Indiana's done good with the former JMU coach, and maybe Penn State will too. But I think Stanford's the pick right now. Granted, I made this last night, so yeah. And then Florida, I've been back and forth. Well, I've been back and forth kind of on this. I had James Franklin and then Lane Kiffin. Uh, and obviously, I have different spots for all of those. And obviously, well, one's already gotten hired, and one is going to come here hopefully. Yeah. So I picked a different coach, and this was actually a kind of a funny pick a little bit because part of the reason why Billy Napier got fired, I think South Florida, Florida's daddies, Alex Golesh will be the next coach of Florida. I think this makes the most sense at this point. He's done a great job at South Florida last few years. I know they had some weird losses, but I think with the way things have progressed, I think he could be the next coach of Florida. I mean, it's not much of a geography difference. I mean, it's in Florida, and like obviously they play each other. I feel like that he doesn't have to adjust much. I mean, he'll be in Florida still, and was he like an assistant coach at Tennessee? But I think Alex Gold, he's done an amazing job at South Florida, so I think he's gonna move on to his SEC school, and I think Florida's gonna want to hire him. I mean, they obviously Florida canceled their interview with John Summerall, so I don't think that's happening. But I swear to God, if all this hype's just for Lane Kiffin to come to Florida, I'm gonna be so mad. Well, actually, it'd be worse if he stayed in Ole Miss because we have to play Ole Miss every year. But yeah, but if he comes to LSU, let's freaking go, bro. That'd be great. I love that if he came to LSU. Yeah. But I think Alex Golesh. I mean, we saw that like Florida is interested in American coaches, like for the American Conference specifically. Like they're interested in Group of Five coaches. They've hired Billy Napier, and I don't know where Dan Mullen was before Florida. Oh, it's Mississippi State. He's pretty good at Mississippi State. Before Mississippi State fell off the face of the earth. I guess he had Dak Prescott at one point, but yeah. Anyways, I think that Alex Goldspin next coach. I think that makes the most sense. I mean, you're getting from the same state that you're in, but yeah. Plus, it is, although it'd be kind of funny if they actually hired him because maybe he knows how to be Florida, so maybe he can. Well, he knows how to beat Florida, so maybe he can help Florida beat other teams. Yeah, there's that. But I think USF. I mean, I saw him play in person. They're a great team. They beat up North Texas in that game I went to, especially in the second half. But yeah, but I think that Alex Golesh will be the next coach of Florida. Yeah. I think and yeah. Now moving on, Colorado State. Colorado State. I've gone from like Billy Napier. Now I don't know what their budget is necessarily. I've gone from Billy Napier to Tim Skipper. But I don't think any of those coaches are going because I think Tim Skipper's probably just gonna be an assistant at UCLA still. There's a chance to go somewhere, but just UCLA kind of has cooled down a bit, I will admit. But yeah. But I'm gonna go with a different coach that actually recently got fired. He had a great stint at his team until the last 2 years. Kind of did not do very good to him. Wasn't very good for him. But I think he'll coach to him. He says his son has stated that he's still interested in coaching. And I think that Mike Gundy will be the next coach at Colorado State. I originally had him at I'm pretty sure I had him somewhere else. Like I had him at UAB. And now Colorado State. I mean, it's not terribly far geographically. And geographically it doesn't really matter that much. But like, if you got an offer that's not terribly far, because Colorado's not terribly far from Oklahoma. But and Colorado and Oklahoma, those two teams were in the same conference at one point. But this is obviously Oklahoma State and Colorado State. Yeah. I mean, they border states, but yeah, I think Mike Gundy. I think a Group of 5 team makes the most sense for him at this point. Maybe even an FCS. I don't think he's go down like the FCS. I think a Group of 5 makes the most sense for him at this point. I think a team like Colorado State could definitely use him and get some veteran resource and all that. Yeah, but I think that'd be actually a good hire by him because I will admit, Oklahoma State kind of fell off the face of the earth because it wasn't that long ago. Mike Gundy was still doing pretty good. Like it was like 2 years ago. Around 2 years ago, he was in the Big 12 championship with Texas. Granted, it probably should have been Oklahoma that year, but I mean, they beat Oklahoma, so I mean, they deserved it more. Obviously, I know that was the year they lost to South Alabama, but still, Oklahoma State turned it around that year, and Mike Gundy can be a really good coach. Although the last 2 years have not been very good, yeah. But I think Mike Gundy will be the next coach of Colorado State. I think a Group of 5 makes the most sense for him at this point. And Colorado State, I believe they won the Pac-12. Yeah, they're one of those teams going to the Pac-12 next year. So yeah, you have him and Billy Napier according to my projections. So yeah, well, Squid Hard Sports says Billy Napier. Yeah, Billy Napier. Yeah, if y'all watch Squid Hard Sports, he's hilarious, bro. He's one of my favorite YouTubers at this point. Yeah. There's that. Now moving on. Now we have Auburn, and we'll get to Cal. The Cal one, I'm not actually that sure about because literally he got hot. Literally when I made these, he got fired like 30 minutes before. So yeah, or then it was announced. Yeah. Auburn, no. Auburn, I've been back and forth on a few coaches. Actually one, but I had Alex Golesh originally going there, but since he's going to Florida, according to my projections, I think they're going to have different Group 5 coach. I think they'll hire the coach that Florida canceled the interview. I think they'll hire John Summerall. I feel like that makes the most sense for Summerall. He's done an incredible job at Tulane. I mean, Tulane has just been really good. Like, no matter who coaches, like whether it's Willie Fritz or John Summerall, they're a good team. I'll tell you what, like, Tulane is one of the best Group of 5 programs at this point, as we can tell with all those coaches. But at this point, Tulane is joining a power conference, so their coaches stop getting stripped. But that's the only bad thing about getting really good Group of 5. Your coaches get poached to go somewhere else for good reason. I mean, I take the Auburn job over Tulane at this point. Just saying, I don't really like you though. Well, I'm not. I don't hate Tulane honestly. I know they're a rival to us, but I pull for them sometimes. I can pull for them against USC. I know they're both rivals to LSU, but I take the Auburn job over Tulane. Just saying. I mean, it's SEC job over a Group of 5 job. Who wouldn't at this point? I get it, but like, yeah. I think John Summer, he could take his play. Like, he could take. Is Jake Retzloff? Retzlaff. Going to the NFL next year. Yeah, you could take Jake Retzlaff with him directly. Take some other players, yeah. Maybe you get Darren Minsaw back. You probably take Jake Retzlaff over Darren Minsaw at this point, though. But Auburn, I think hiring John Summerall would be a good move. He's been great at Tulane. And I think that makes the most sense. I feel like Auburn's the type of team to hire Group of 5 coaches. They probably want Lane Kiffin, but and Lane Kiffin was rumored to go there a few years ago, but I mean, I think LSU is the most likely to get Lane Kiffin out of those 4 SEC teams, if anything. Where Lane Kiffin won't go, obviously. I mean, it's what someone suggested. I mean, come on. Whit Weeks is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter. But if that's not a sign of something, I don't know what is. But yeah. But I think John Summerall will end up at the Alberno at Hugh Freeze's death. So Hugh Freeze's death trap. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Last but not least, we had the California Golden Bears, or California University, Cal Berkeley, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Cal just fired Justin Wilcox. I mean, they've been mediocre at best last few years. So I think I get it. Yeah, but although they're not a terrible team, it's just yeah. But overall, I think they're going to hire a Group of 5 coach from the Mountain West. Now, this was a very early pick. This is that's like a very early pick because he just got fired. Right when I put it in, and he literally just got fired. There wasn't even coaching projection yet. I have Jason Echo in there. He's the coach at New Mexico. He's done an incredible job there this year. That's the best New Mexico team I've seen in a long time. They were not very good last year. They had some bright spots. They lost to Montana State. Montana State was a great FCS team last year, but still. But New Mexico, I mean, they've been great this year. They beat they crushed UCLA on the road. Yeah, it's in Deshaun Foster was still there, but still crushing a Power 4 team on the road, pretty impressive. They've been great this year. Jason X done an incredible job there. I'll say. And I know rumors he could go to Oregon State. I think Cal's probably a better job at this point. I think he'd be willing to take it. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. They are where is their FBS? Okay, their FBS schedule website. Yeah, 8-3. The only 3 losses are actually close game to Michigan. Not necessarily close. Not a terrible loss to Michigan, no. 34-17. That's not the worst thing. They lost San Jose State, which is kind of random, and Boise State, but they've been great. They've been good this year. They've been a good team this year. They beat UCLA 35-10 on the road. They also beat teams like UNLV. They've had some weird games. They barely beat Nevada. Nevada's actually on better than them, but still. They're at San Diego State, which they're probably going to lose to. But, yeah. They've been a good team this year. They've had some close games this year against opponents, but, Jason X done a great job. I mean, considering where they were last year, they've been much better this year. I'm willing to bet Jason Eck will be the next coach at Cal. I think that makes the most sense at this point. I think Cal would for sure get a coach from the Mountain West. It could either be him or the Boise State coach or something like that, or even a San Diego State coach. But ironically, that'd be funny to think of the San Diego State coach, the same team that shut them out, the same coach that shut them out. Neither new coach, but yeah. But yeah, but I think he could do a good job at Cal. At least bring them back to a decent team because they have potential. They're inconsistent though. I'll give them credit. They beat Louisville, but they also got shut up by San Diego State. So take that for what you will. But yeah, there's that. But I think Jason Eck would be a good coach for them. So yeah. Anyways, y'all, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed this version of college football pro coaching projections. next week is going to be crazy. I don't know, because we're going to find out about Lane Kiffin's status. We're also going to find out, and a lot of coaches might get fired next week because it's the end of the season. Like probably a lot, and we're going to see a lot of coaches getting poached. So we'll probably do more of these episodes more often. It's about to get real good. It's been a crazy year for coaching searches, like firings and hirings, all that. Like 13 of the 136 teams that have had to fire their coaches somewhere. Granted, yeah, that's only like 10%, but still, that's insane, bro. Like the fact, like Penn State, LSU, Auburn, Florida, Arkansas, Cal, who else? All Virginia Tech, all these jobs opened up in the same season. Pretty incredible, pretty insane, bro. Yeah. Anyways, y'all. Yeah, there you go. So that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. This list might look very different next week. We'll see, because it's gonna be after rivalry week. They're gonna fire people. But yeah, well, people. But is BBC? Yeah. But I'm very intrigued to see what's gonna be like next week. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and goodbye. See you next one. Peace. Now let me look at the chat actually. Let's see if anyone actually said anything in the chat. Okay, no one said anything. Okay. Thank you for watching. Peace. Actually, let me try this. Nah. Hey, I'm the number one fan of my own channel. Peace. See you next one. Peace.